Hello, I'm Chad Peace, attorney with the Independent Voter Project. I want to talk to you today about some bills coming out of the Oregon legislature that really go to the heart of the frustration a lot of people are having with the political process, in particular primary elections. Oregon really highlights, one, the complexity of the problem, and two, an opportunity for solution. So first, Oregon today has what's called a traditional closed primary. And most simply, here's the problem, or here's the conflict created by a closed primary. When you have a closed primary, the first stage of the process has a Democratic nomination and a Republican nomination, which means that independent voters, who are by far the fastest growing portion of the electorate, they're not allowed to participate at all. Hence the closed term. Hence the term closed, right? The door is closed to your house. The door is closed to your restaurant. If you're not a member of that family and the restaurant doesn't want to let you in, sorry, you can't vote. So the conflict created is that the parties have the right to nominate their candidate to go on to the general election, but it's a component of the public election process that's important. So what do you do with those independent voters? Now, Oregon's approaching this in two ways that really highlight opportunities to start looking at the election process differently. One of these is called a top two primary. Now, this has a nonpartisan nature, which means we're not selecting nominees for the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. It doesn't serve the parties at round one. It's a public process. And whether you're a candidate for the Democrats or the Republicans, or you're an independent or a Green, you all run on the same ballot. And what that means is whether you're a Republican or independent or Democrat or Green voter, you all get the same ballot. You get to participate, and the top two, regardless of party, go on to the general election. So what this does is it resolves that conflict between the Democrats selecting their own nominee and the voter being able to participate. However, some folks don't like this system because there is merit and there's virtue to having political parties determine who they want represented in the general election. This is a solution that's been adopted by states like Washington and California. What Oregon's proposing is really revolutionary, and I believe they're the first to offer this solution, is say, okay, we know that there's a lot of folks that don't want to join the Democratic Party. They don't want to join the Republican Party, but they want to participate at this first important stage of the election and have some determination over who they get to select in the general election. So most simply, what Bill 3140 has done is said, well, why don't we just add one more box to the closed primary? And what we'll do is we'll call this a public primary. What that means is any candidate and any voter can participate on this ballot. And the winner of that ballot gets to go on to the general election. So now you have a nominee in a traditional primary system that respects the right of the parties to elect their nominee, but in the general election, you have the Democratic Party's private nominee versus the Republican Party versus what we would call the public nominee. So I hope that helps explain some of the principles and some of the conflict that's created by our current system. And I think we all ought to look to Oregon because they're really taking it to heart about the frustrations of voters and trying to figure out how we can have a process that's more representative of everybody.